Welcome back to Big Mouth. Fancy seeing you here, and you are welcome. Listen, they can't handle it. The sites and the bloggers, they are crying into their cornflakes in the morning because Aquaman, a DCEU movie, has beaten the beloved Disney Mary Poppins Returns, the female-led Bumblebee movie. They're so angry. They're trying to find any way to halt the progress of the box office. Whatever they do is futile. Now, I like screenrant, I do. And I like the writer of this article I'm about to read to you, Alex Ledbetter, I think you pronounce his name. I think I even follow him on Twitter. So I'm not going to go at him venomously, but I want to look at the title first. Aquaman's bad CGI can't escape Justice League's moustache problem. Aquaman's bad CGI. Bad CGI. Some of the best CGI you'll ever see, and they're calling it bad. So let's give this a read, right? Aquaman may signal a new era for the DCEU, but it still maintains an oddly specific aspect of Justice League. Wrong. Fake. Iffy CGI. Oh my God. Now listen, iffy CGI hair, right? Listen to this. James Wan's Atlantean Spectacle is the first movie to release since the JLA's box office disappointment. Well, for me, they got away with murder with their box office, but still. And with its neon underwater landscapes and 1980s chic, very much marks a new era for the DC Extended Universe. But that past still invites comparisons, and one of them isn't necessarily flattering. I mean, it's hack journalism, basically. By far the most roundedly mocked aspect of Justice League was Superman's upper lip as a result of the Joss Whedon directed reshoots, coming at the same time as principal photography for Mission Impossible Fallout. Henry Cavill had a decidedly un-Superman moustache when returning to the role. Is there any moustache that's a Superman one? Right, anyway. And although there was talk of having him shave, Paramount refused, leading Warner Brothers to have to digitally remove it. The result was horrifying. Yes, it was. Superman's CGI mouth didn't just not look real. The process of removal, including pinning the moustache up on set, seemingly caused Cavill to overact and draw direct attention to the meddling with the film. It's more emblematic of the problems than it is a root. But considering Justice League opens on a camera phone footage of uncanny lipped Superman, it's something DC invited. Right, before I go any further, if there is anything else, yeah, here we are, right? Before I go any further, right, I want to say this. Basically, right, they were in a bugger's muddle. Since the birth of the DCEU and Man of Steel, these people have been going at them, right? So, under pressure and not knowing which way to turn after seeing Zack Snyder's cut for the film, they shit themselves. They thought, it's going to happen again. They're going to go at us again for being too dark. So they were caught between a rock and a hard place. They made the wrong decision, which they know. The CGI was done in a rush for Justice League, and that the moustache removal, that's obvious. That should never have been released in that condition. It was bad, it was embarrassing, it was awful. But ultimately, we have to move on from that. But these people don't want to move on from that. They love talking about the DCEU, of course, because it gives them more clicks than the MCU, right? So let's carry on. Aquaman also has a CGI reality issue. Bullshit. Albeit other way round. One of the precedent effects in the film is the character's floaty hair. Imagine how nitpicky. How long did they have to try and find this, right? While underwater to represent the alternative physics, in theory, that's a logical way to ground the movie in a tangible reality. In practice, it's the real test of believability. This is also a problem now because we live in an era of over-analysis of films and how we just can't escape from the real world. We are obsessed that everything has to be intangible, right? Ridiculous, right? Let's carry on. In pretty much every sense of Aquaman, the line where an actor's real hair ends and the character's CGI hair begins is far too obvious. No, not to me. I didn't even notice it. Oh my God, right. The digital part billows in the water while the actual hair, obviously shot on dry land where normal gravity applies, is static. I really need, I need a gift right now. Right, there's a disconnect that's ever present to combat this. The film often puts characters in crowns or other headdresses that cover their hairline, meaning the connection doesn't need to be animated. This is the same basic shortcut that was used in Hanna-Barbera, oh my God, cartoons, where Yogi Bear, oh my God, we're talking about bloody Yogi Bear now, are we? By the way, I love Yogi. Snagglepuss and Fred Flintstone's head and body were divided by a collar that allowed them to be animated independently. Aquaman's effects is considerably more elaborate, yet the mechanics and the overall results aren't all that different. This may seem like a minor aspect, yes, and it's an aspect that isn't even there. You're making it up. Aspect of Aquaman, because on its own it is, but when it is happening in every scene and is coupled with other offbeat creative choices, such as the decision to have aquatic conversations delivered with a degree of static, the whole movie's suspension of disbelief begins to crumble. No, it doesn't. You're talking absolute bollocks. Aquaman is a CGI heavy picture. No shit, sir, Sherlock. I'm glad I clicked this article for you to tell me that. And the overall quality is one of good, not not great. Where the inventiveness of the designs offsets the lack of photorealism. Oh my God. That's a smart move, one that's been employed throughout the history of VFX. Star Wars effects were mid-range but plentiful, but there needs to be a bar. One, the hair falls short of like the CGI lips. In Justice League, this is terrible. It's not about the effect, but that the effect means. Indeed, how far you go with the movie really depends on how much you can accept the floating hair. I've accepted it. Everyone's accepted it. Nobody cares. It's hard to say what could have been done instead. Aquaman had to do something with his actor's hair, although the decision to make the hair movement so elaborate was too much. No, it wasn't. For its underwater sequence. Fellow Christmas release. Here we go. Mary Poppins Returns eschews any hair trickery and just has the actors act underwater on a green screen. Already you can see their agenda. They're so upset that Aquaman's beaten Mary Poppins, right? They're so pissed off, right? They have to try and prop the film up by talking about CGI, right? Any hair trickery and just has the actors act underwater on a green screen. Although that's a magic-induced sequence and not beholden to laws of the real world. Aside from the spending way much more time and money on the hair, Aquaman could have been more restrained and toned the animation down. Like much of the movie, it could be argued it was just too bold and ambitious. Oh, how dare they be too bold and ambitious. A bit much for the current generation, isn't it? Their minds are not open, right? And I think, yeah, that's it, right? So now we can look at this. They are so pissed off that Aquaman is doing well. Imagine the cheek. Alex, my friend, Alex, you are reaching. You're comparing the CGI in Justice League with Cavill's moustache and upper lip to a bit of floaty hair. You are reaching. You are so desperate. And all you YouTubers calling Aquaman a terrible movie, forget it. It's over. Warner Brothers have got you pinned down with the way they scheduled the release of the movie, the way bloggers and critics' negativity has been irrelevant, how Rotten Tomatoes 64% review score is irrelevant. People are going to that film, they're enjoying it, and they're going again and again and again. And you can't handle it, you little babies. So you have to come out with nonsense like this. I really feel sorry for you. I don't like doing videos like this. But it is my role and my responsibility as a DC fan and a fan of the DCEU movies to fight back. And it's your responsibility too, to not allow these bastards, while they prop up Disney and the MCU and never talk about the flaws. They called Spider-Man Homecoming the best Spider-Man film of all time. Nonsense. It is such a generic, underwhelming, mediocre film. They lie. They lie all the time. Now, I don't know why they have the agenda that they have. And Screenrant have been defenders of the DCEU as well. They're also fighting with us to get the Snyder Cut released. And I respect that. I respect this journalist. But this, you know, you're better than this, Alex. You're better than this. Now, I don't know if Screenrant have told you to do this or you come up with this article yourself. But at the end of the day, right, at the end of the day, this is outrageous. This is so bad. And to compare the floaty hair to the Justice League issues is ridiculous. Why are they doing this? Because they want you not to forget what happened with Justice League and connect it to Aquaman and start saying, well, I'm not going to go and watch this film. Forget it. You failed. Your hatred has failed. Your female-led movies have failed. It's over for you. Warner Brothers have found a way to make you all irrelevant. And you hate it, don't you? We won, you lost. But the fight goes on. And by the way, Shazam will probably make $1 billion too. I can feel your pain and your tears right now.